Multiple reports have stated that the upcoming Sony universe, which features no Spider Man, is going to set itself up for a major collision course with the MCU, but more specifically with Sony's and Marvel Studios and Disney's Spider Man 4. Sony is very interested in not losing that Spider Man license, so as many films as they can produce every couple of years that are based on a Spider-Man character just to hold on to them is obviously what they're trying to do. Now, Marvel Studios and Disney and Sony have had plenty of squabble, public and, in interviews and taken a couple shots at one another. But of course, we know they're still very eager to keep Spider-Man in the MCU because that's been the biggest money-earning and best-reviewed Spider-Man films. So not surprising that we're hearing that Sony wants in on this even more. And this goes back to something that goes all the way back to Spider-Man Homecoming, when they were teasing that their films would be in the MCU or adjacent to it, whatever that means. Now we find out, well, okay, it's the multiverse, but also this multiverse has already crossed over into the MCU, so what's next? Recent reports from multiple insiders are saying Spider-Man 4 is going to make a definitive statement on how this all connects, and that the bigger Spider-Verse is all sort of converging into the MCU, and that, well, we're going to see Sony's characters, Morbius, their Kraven, and Venom, and the Madam Web characters, all in the MCU in due time, essentially forming what a lot of people believe will be the Spider-Man universe that now takes place in the MCU. I honestly think that that's always, at least in some way, Sony's thing or Sony's end goal and vision of what they wanted to do, but just couldn't really figure it out or how to do it. And maybe now they're just going to say, you know what, fine, Marvel, help us. Help us on all of these. Make them part of the MCU. And while that's great, that would mean Marvel Studios has to sacrifice some of their own time and effort, like they do on the Spider-Man films. So it'll be interesting to see just what they do and what type of deal it ends up being and how they do all this, because the moment Sony produces another Morbius-level stinker once the MCU's involved, it's all going to fall apart. So you would have to figure that there's got to be some sort of very careful wording here on what's done. And I honestly don't even see why Sony keeps trying to produce their own spin-offs. Just keep making the Spider-Man films and a couple extras with Marvel. It's literally going to give you more money and profits than sending out more Morbiuses and whatever else. Because that hasn't worked. And I promise you, nobody is excited for El Muerto, Hypno Hustler, and Night Hawkshade Spawn Man guy.